So this is Fulcino Vineyards in Hollis. I'm here with Jim Lawrence, candidate for Congress for CD2, the victor of the Republican primary, a man with an excellent voting record in the State House and hoping to take that to D.C. So Jim, how's the campaign going so far, and what are the achievements and challenges?
Well, of course, the greatest achievement was the honor that the voters bestowed upon me by making me their nominee for Congress here in CD2. And the campaign trail is going very well. Our message seems to be resonating very positive. It's got a lot of positive response all across the district. And yesterday I had the honor of speaking before our presidential nominee in front of a crowd of about 1,000 people. So I'm very excited about that.
About how many? 1,000?
About 1,000 people.
That's not bad for Bedford, New Hampshire.
That's not bad in the middle of a day, of a work day. So that's
that's good. So you drew a crowd of 1,000 people in Bedford. Well, with a bit of help.
I don't know if I could take credit for that, but I was happy to speak for them, and I definitely enjoyed the enthusiasm and the energy and the positive response to my message, which is very different from that of Ann Kuster's.
It most certainly is. And that's the thing, our country's slipping ever more towards the administrative state, and it's going to take a brave challenge to that machinery in Washington to reverse course.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the bottom line is this. It's going to take a lot of people to get elected to D.C. that are willing to change the culture down there. And I hope I could be one of those voices that can help bring that change about for the benefit of all of us.
Indeed. I mean, Annie Kuster's a very nice person. She does good constituent service, but her voting record is entirely on the wrong side and is constantly for government growth and more regulation.
Absolutely, and as you know, government overregulation and taxation of our businesses is the number one threat to our economy. So we need to reverse that. We need to reverse the damage of the past 8 years, and we need to move forward with a less intrusive, less regulatory, and less tax-hungry federal government.
Indeed we do. So your primary opponent actually turned around and endorsed you very quickly after your victory, which I thought was very gentlemanly of him. I take my hat off to Jack Flanagan for that.
As did I.
And is he helping you out on the campaign trail?
He is absolutely. As a matter of fact, he's one of the co-chairs of my candidacy currently. Jack ran a very hard race based on the issues, and I'm very appreciative of that, and I'm also appreciative of the fact that he endorsed me right away, which is, one of the things that we talked about in the candidacy is that the real enemy is not the opponents in the primary.
No, it's not.
It's Ann Kuster. And Jack knows that, and I know that, and we're going to work very hard together to make sure that we defeat her in November.
Yeah, and just because Trump is occasionally outrageous, he is just so different from a Democrat, there could be no reason ever to not to work for Trump's victory. Well, and especially with such a decent man as Mike Pence on the ticket with him.
Mike Pence is a decent man, and I can tell you this, I'm certainly not going to work to help Hillary Clinton get elected.
No.
The thought of her governing our country, leading us down the wrong path, as President Obama has for the past 8 years, is not something that sits well with me.
No, it doesn't sit well with anybody. So, as a businessman, Jim, you've had to deal firsthand, not just with the regulations and taxation, but with, in fact, the strictures placed upon you by Obamacare. How's that been? And have you compared notes with some of the other Republican candidates on how it's impacted you and them?
Well, I think that regulation in general has impacted all businesses, particularly small businesses, in a very negative fashion. The Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, is no different. It's forced many business owners to restructure their labor force. They're no longer able to afford to be able to provide the health care benefits that they need to provide their full-time employees. So many of them are going to part-time employees. So it's not only hurting the businesses, it's cutting jobs, full-time jobs that the people of this state and this country are depending on. And I know this is pervasive all across our state and all across our country. As a matter of fact, I noticed the Democrats saw fit to attack our gubernatorial candidate, Kuster, for doing the same thing. When he really wasn't doing it, it was Obamacare that did it. So they need to point the finger at themselves instead.
Right. No, and, notwithstanding some differences back in the primaries, I'm well prepared to support Chris Sununu for governor because, again, any positions we may differ with him on are pale in comparison with what a Democrat would bring to the office.
Particularly Van Austin. He's a particular kind of Democrat.
Well, right.
I think we're around the
Fresh.
I think.
Yeah. Well, it's time to use that old line again. I will not use my opponent's youth and inexperience against him.
Yeah, there's many quotes from Ronald Reagan we could probably use right about now.
Croc TV.